It's been raining so much recently, it's beginning to feel kind of like the Pacific Northwest. When we think of Galveston's post-1900 storm recovery, we often don't think about local government reform. As you may already know, the 1900 storm was one of the most devastating natural disasters in United States history. The post-storm recovery brought on the Galveston Island grade raising, where Galvestonians elevated most of the urbanized portion of Galveston. And of course, the building of the Galveston seawall. But there is one aspect of post-storm recovery that isn't discussed too often. A new form of government was invented and established right here in Galveston. And that form of government is known as the City Commission Plan, or as it was first dubbed, the Galveston Plan. Welcome to Galveston Unscripted. Although the city of Galveston no longer uses this form of government, there are plenty of cities across the United States that still use it. Oh, dude, what time is it? I've got to go catch a flight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We ask that you please step out of here.
Thank you to our video sponsor, The Daily News, bringing you the news since 1842. Texas' oldest newspaper. Support your local newspaper, The Daily News. I just landed in Portland, Oregon, one of the largest US cities to still use the City Commission Plan. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't fly all the way to Oregon to make this video specifically on this topic, but the timing was too perfect because I'm working on a project along the Columbia River. Now, to be honest, throughout my life, I haven't really thought much about local city government systems. Portland, Oregon is one of the last major cities in the United States to use the City Commission form of government, invented in Galveston, Texas in 1901. And in all honesty, the timing could not be more perfect, as the City Commission form of government comes to an end in Portland, Oregon next year in 2025, where they're switching to a mayor-council style of government. Now, as I hike here in the Cascade Mountains right along the Columbia River, over 1,800 miles away from Galveston, it's a very good reminder that there are very few connections between the Pacific Northwest and Galveston, Texas, other than deep, rich history. After the 1900 storm, the process to rebuild Galveston's infrastructure and economy was daunting. Over 6,000 people were killed during that storm, and many people and businesses moved away from Galveston. Now, this was a problem because at the time, Galveston's port was one of the most significant in the state of Texas and to the west. So in 1901, as Galveston begins its slow rebuilding process, city leaders in Galveston and state leaders in Texas decide to get together and form a new government to help hasten the process to rebuild Galveston and the Texas economy. The Texas government and Galveston city leaders were concerned that current city council could not handle building back the city, which is why the state got involved to appoint commissioners in the first place. And after much deliberation between the Texas government and the citizens of Galveston, they decided to come up with appointed city commissioners, appointed by the state of Texas. But many citizens of Galveston did not like this initial plan of having an undemocratic process, basically appointing city leaders in Galveston. But the final plan was a partially appointed, partially elected city commission for the city of Galveston. And this became what is now known as the Galveston Plan, or the City Commission style of government. And throughout the early 1900s, this style of government took the country by storm. The Galveston Plan features a small governing commission elected at large by voters, typically comprising of 5 or 7 members. These commissioners collectively handle legislative functions like taxation, appropriations, and ordinances, while individually overseeing specific municipal affairs like public works or finance. Key features of the City Commission include blending legislative and executive functions within the same body, with one of the commissioners being designated as a chairman or the mayor, mainly for presiding over meetings. Initially, the Galveston Plan included partially appointed commissioners, but later evolved to have all commissioners elected, and many existing city commission cities shifted to the council-manager system, which emphasized business-like management and retained beneficial aspects like at-large voting and direct democracy. The City Commission Plan spread rapidly between 1907 and 1920, with over 500 cities in the United States adopting the Galveston Plan, and over 75 of those were in Texas. City Commission charters were endorsed by people like Teddy Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson. Now, depending on what specific cities decide, you can either have a partially appointed, partially elected, or completely elected commission. Major cities like to go the more democratic route and have a completely elected commission. And depending on the economy and population throughout time, the style of government that may be best for that city could change, which is why the city commission form of government was abandoned in Galveston for the city council style of government, and it's probably why Portland, Oregon is shifting their style of government in 2025. These days, there can be quite a number of styles of municipal government. For instance, the council manager form of government that Galveston has today, which was adopted in 1961. The city commission plan was a precursor to the council manager style of government, or you can have the mayor council form of government, like many cities across the United States have today. I've linked a breakdown to each style of government in the description of this video. But essentially, the point to having so many styles of municipal government comes down to who does that city want to give the most power to, whether it be the mayors, commissioners, council members, or managers. The commission plan saw declining adoption after World War I, as many cities began shifting over to a council manager style plan like Galveston has today. Concerns arose due to internal squabbling among commissioners. And by 1993, there were no true commission forms of government left in Texas, but there were a few holdouts like Portland, Oregon. A good reminder that even things like local government systems, starting in Galveston, even if it's just for a century and a quarter, have had an influence on the rest of the world. Who would have thought the remnants of a system of government invented in Galveston after the 1900 storm would still be holding out in the Pacific Northwest? If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all social media. We are everywhere. And if you haven't yet, go check out the podcast. We've got hours and hours of historical content on that podcast feed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Galveston Unscripted. I really wish we still had a commission form of government, because the potential for us to have a Commissioner Gordon in Galveston is just too cool.
If you've got problems with malfunctioning equipment, I suggest you take them up with maintenance, counselor.